State. It's Fair and Hyman in the backcourt. Georgia Woolley, Elena Rice, and Dariauna Lewis. Asia Strong is on the bench for the second straight game. A smaller lineup for Syracuse, guard heavy. Wagner, fresh off a loss to New Hampshire. And the Seahawks starting five, Alex Cowan, leading scorer on this team. Saniaa Thibault, a defensive star. Then it's Lena Losanis, big shooter on this team. Drea Hayward and Kem Wabadu down low. Georgia Woolley, the Buffalo transfer, over to Teisha Hyman. Lone returning starter on this SU team. Pull up Jay, got it.
That's her. Sorry, Cam, that's her game. She loves to pull up in the mid-range, and she's got great range.
Foul is called before the drive by Thibault. And for Wagner, it's a Seahawks defense last season that was top 20 in the nation in forcing turnovers, top 30 in the nation in scoring defense. So far this season hasn't been much of the same production. Their head coach, Coburn, he wants to emphasize defense as the reason this team plays well. Losanis launches too long on that three. Woolley, the flyby, bounce pass, Lewis, the easy finish. Dariauna Lewis, and that's why Syracuse is so good inside. 5 6-footers, a lot of them out of the transfer portal, and Lewis is one of them.
And Lewis can finish on the inside just about as easy as anybody. You can't give her that much space.
Wabadu misses right. Smallest player on the court grabs the rebound, and Fair is pushing in transition. Tosses it away. Wagner full head of steam. Cowan leading score, and it's knocked out of her hands. This is a Wagner team 4-4. They've never beaten Syracuse before. Last time these two teams faced off 10 years ago was a 66-28 win for Syracuse, and Terrell Coburn and company are hoping that they can rewrite that fortune in this series. Cowan, the three, long. Wagner gets it back. Saniaa Thibault, the 5'7" grad student. 8 seconds to shoot. Drive by Hayward, the Swiss Army knife off the glass.
You see the little fake pass there to get the defender moving one way, then going to the rim and finishing with the left hand. Not easy to do, especially against Dariauna Lewis down low.
And with only 7 to shoot. Wagner team that moves very quick. We were talking to their head coach earlier in the week, and he said transition play, that's how we beat Syracuse. Elena Rice troubled up top, reach in. Lena Losanis, her first personal, the 5'10" sophomore from Latvia. 10 points in 19 minutes against New Hampshire. A loss for Wagner the last time they were on the floor. Hyman the move, great defense by Hayward. The fall-away jumper, and she's fouled. Hayward can't believe it. And she'll be their stud on defense. Her and Thibault. Thibault rocking number 2 in green are the mainstays, but a little too aggressive here.
Yeah, you see hand in the cookie jar, just pokes it away, and then when Hyman goes up, she's falling away, but Drea Hayward just not giving her any space to land.
Teisha Hyman at the line. 20 points in that win over Coppin State on Thursday to improve SU's record to 7-2. Coach Coburn watching on and told us earlier in the week, yeah, you have to worry about Dyaisha Fair and Teisha Hyman, but we're focused more about playing our game. Teisha Hyman up to 4 points and Syracuse up 8-2. Wagner breaks the press. Hayward again to the rack, passes it off. Bit too long on that layup on the right block by Wabadu. Gets it right back. Short J is good. Second chance opportunities. Wagner down 4.
In warm-ups, Wabadu was not making them from the mid-range either. She took about 6 or 7 shots from the elbows. None of them went down. That one there, that went down.
And Georgia Woolley got inside with ease. Wabadu sets the screen now. Back to Wabadu. Good pick and roll. And Wabadu finishes. The 5th-year forward transfer from Winthrop. Fair, it's stripped away. Thibault dives on the floor. A scrum on the opposite end. And that's why Saniaa Thibault's one of the best defensive players in the Northeast Conference. She leads the conference in assists per game, gets on the floor, does all the dirty work, and that's what her coach Terrell Coburn was telling us earlier in the week. Lewis checks out for Syracuse. In comes Asia Strong. Hayward also out for Wagner. Andrea Hayward up to 2 fouls. Elena Rice, the O board. Dyaisha Fair leads the team in scoring, and that's why Mrs. Long. Strong. She'll head to the line to shoot 2. Asia Strong from South Bend, Indiana, the 6'2" grad student. Was the 7th player to transfer to Syracuse, and she had quite the story coming to Syracuse at Bradley, Trinity Valley Community College, Wichita State, but most importantly, she got to rock the hard hat. Asia Strong won that little award, a hard hat that's blinged out in honor of a player that just does their job. Felicia Leggett, Jack in the background, a little laugh, little smirk. Over at Buffalo, the Bulls had a lunchbox that was blinged out and would be given to the player that had the hardest mentality, and at Syracuse, it's the hard hat. The ball's thrown away by Wagner.
I mean, talk about the defensive side of things early on. Coach Jack, she preaches defense. Offense is your freedom, but defense is your heart, and that's what earns you the hard hat.
Asia Strong did finish with 16 points and 10 rebounds. Rice to the rack. That's a pretty move. Elena Rice back in the starting lineup after she lost a little bit of that role when Georgia Woolley returned. Elena Rice rocks the upside-down Nike emblem on her headband. And the travel, Wabadoo, too many steps. If Wagner drives themselves into a hole, it would be in the turnover department. 17 turnovers per game.
Which is ironic because they forced 20 a game against New Hampshire earlier this week. New Hampshire had 34 turnovers. Wow. 21 of them were steals.
Yep.
You have to take care of the ball on both ends.
Off a screen, Fair. Woolley, the pump fake. This is short on the J. Marissa Sanchez-Henry, who just checked into this game, in the fray and throws it away. Couple deflections into the hands of Fair. Up atop, Woolley. She's fouled going to the rim. 2 shots at the stripe for Georgia Woolley. Alex Cowan, the guilty party.
Well, there it goes. We went right from a turnover to a transition opportunity for Syracuse. A really good outlet pass. Woolley obviously tangled up there in the arm of Alex Cowan. But that's what happens with Syracuse. They can force turnovers, and Marissa Sanchez-Henry and the rest of this Wagner team has to make their right reads and not cough up the ball in those situations.
We were at Wagner's practice yesterday, and it was evident they wanted to move quickly on the defensive end and prioritize communication. And in transition, it's hard to do that against a really athletic Syracuse team, right?
Especially one that's as quick as they are, right? Being athletic is one thing, but if you have speed in all aspects of the floor, well, it's going to be good for you.
Good for Wabadoo. She's up to 4 points. Georgia Woolley to Strong. Knocked out of her hands. Stays with Syracuse. Syracuse leads 16-8, 5 minutes into this ball game, and the Orange up on top. But a really cool part about this game, a lot of storylines, and we got a family affair on the coaching staff side of things when we return here in the JMA Wireless Dome.
When do we go from learners to leaders? Who draws the line between theory and practice and decides when our dreams go live? We do. Potential is over. It's time to rise as one, to rise as Orange.
From the fairy tales of Shrek comes the legendary cat.
Lunch me!
With 9 lives.
The legend will never die!
8 lives.
Would you like a question?
7, 6,
Does this have shellfish in it?
5,
Watch!
4,
Watch!
3,
What?
2.
A guy always lands on his feet. You are down to your last life. I am not really a math guy.
Puss in Boots, only in theaters, rated PG.
Us kings skip lunch, been hungry for hours. Whopper, Royal, Crispy, you know we got ours. $5.99 each, 2 meals to devour.
Next one's on me.
At BK, have it your way.
Did you know one of Nissan's EVs survived the North Pole? And one can go 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. And they're all emission-free. But don't get an EV for the E. Get it because it pins you to your seat. Sparks your imagination and takes your breath away. Nissan EVs aren't just electric. They electrify you.
The Getaway Sales Event is going on now at the all-new South Charlotte Hyundai. When the weather gets colder, the deals get hotter. With leases on Hyundai starting as low as $219 a month, you're not going to want to miss out. We have over 200 new Hyundais available right now, ready for you to drive home today. Each new vehicle comes with America's best warranty, plus 3 years of complimentary Hyundai maintenance with Hyundai Assurance. A grand opening, a grand sales event, and a grand selection of vehicles. All of this going on now at the all-new South Charlotte Hyundai.
At Charmin, we're all about the science of softness. So, we doubly tested our Charmin Ultra Soft to prove its value really stacks up.
First up, the Cushy Soft test. Wow! Softer than ever. Next, the absorbency test.
See? It's 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less. So, Charmin Ultra Soft is always worth it.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have one more test to conduct.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Kai Reed and Kiera Carter add another layer to this game. Best friends from birth because they're siblings. Both went to Michigan State. Kai Reed, a manager on the women's basketball team, and Kiera played for the Spartans as a walk-on. And these two, it's pretty cool to see them both in the Dome, coaching against each other for the first time in their hopefully long careers. Kiera, a Wagner assistant coach in her first year with the Seahawks, and Kai Reed came over from Buffalo with Felicia Leggett-Jack, and he's in his first season as Syracuse's assistant coach. You can always find cool storylines when you send out the schedule, and KC, Kai Reed Carter, told us before the game that the schedule came out, and he looked over at his sister and said, wow, we're really playing each other in the first season?
Yeah, and not only we're really playing each other, but he probably said something along the lines of, wow, I'm really going to beat you in the first season, because that's how competitive they are.
Hyman trying to beat the Seahawks with a 3. Can't do it there. They'll go Wagner's way, and it's a family affair, not just between those two, but the whole Carter family is here right in the middle. Quentin Carter, who's actually the vice president of studio production for the Big Ten Network. He's been in that role ever since 2007 as a coordinating producer. It's cool to see the whole family here. Grandparents, Kai Reed's family, Quentin, and their mom, Simone. Wabudu, the jumper is pure. How about Kem Wabudu, the 5th year, up to 8 points? The Wagner team that scores the most points in the NEC, 64 a game. Fair scores the most points on this team, around 19, but can't get that jumper to fall.
Yeah, it seems like they're already making her uncomfortable, forcing her to take shots that she doesn't want to take, off balanced. And if that's what they do the rest of this game, if they keep her quiet, they have a good chance of outscoring Syracuse in the later stages.
Thibault throws it away. Great positioning by Strong down low. It's what you have to do with Dyaisha Fair, one of the most talented guards over the last 3-4 years in the country. 19 points per game, 5 assists per game is Georgia Woolley. Last year's MAC Freshman of the Year takes the seat. Dyaisha Fair was also MAC Freshman of the Year back in her freshman season. Then she would go on to be top 5 in the nation in scoring 2 out of the next 3 years. Strong with a mismatch. Cheyenne McEvans, another Buffalo transfer, just checked into the ball game. Fair, step back. Missed left, another missed jumper, rebound. Lewis heads to the line to shoot 2. the layer that Syracuse has with Dariauna Lewis, the transfer from Alabama A&M, averages over 10 rebounds per game, and she's getting it done on the offensive end.
She's going to be an issue for Wagner throughout this ball game. Every time that she's down low, she's the first one to put her head up toward the rim on a shot and box out. Boxing out is going to be key in this one, and Coach Jack prides her team on getting rebounds, and Dariauna Lewis is a prime example of that.
And Dariauna Lewis entered the transfer portal. Coach Leggett Jack for Syracuse, 12 to 15 minutes later, looked at the rest of her coaching staff and said, someone shoot her a DM. One of the best rebounders in the nation, was second in rebounds in the entire country last season for Alabama A&M. And she said, hey, that's a player that can rebound with the best of them. And they went 100 miles per hour with her recruiting process because it was so late in the summer.
She called her style of play the Dennis Rodman style of play. Not afraid of anybody and will rebound the heck out of the ball.
Well, Boodoo not afraid, already with 8 points, but misses on that short hook. Fair. Dyaisha Fair still scoreless. Into Strong. Tough move. Lewis again the board. We're going to stay on this end. Dariauna Lewis is dominating Julia Fabazi, who just entered this game, the consummate 6th woman on the team. She's doing everything possible to get every O board.
Yeah, and watch, Lewis, first one to it once the ball comes down off the rim. First of all, nice move from Strong to kind of try and put her shoulder down and scoop it up and in. But Dariauna Lewis is insistent on making sure that she's the first one to the rebound.
And Syracuse shift their focus on offense, shot just 21% from three-point range through the first 4 games. They've gotten better at it, but it allowed them to toughen up inside. And now you're seeing it come to fruition early on in the season. Outscored Colgate 40-8 in the paint, and that just shows the two-dimensional nature of the Syracuse offense.
And they're going to have to play a lot of teams that are aggressive on the inside come ACC play. So if you can be out-aggressing these teams like Wagner out of conference, that's going to help you moving forward.
Dyaisha Fair held up with the newly inserted Wagner Seahawk, Angela Ricard. Hayward back in the game, 21 in green. Fabosi sits. Pull up, misses short. Sanchez Henry, not enough mustard on it. Hyman runs the floor. Lewis to Strong, great pass. So pivotal in transition to find the open woman, and Asia Strong right there to lay it in.
A lot of times Syracuse takes the shot clock and they use as much of it as they can, but they pass the ball so well. It's about ball movement. If you pass the ball really quickly between your players, the defense will never be able to catch up, and that's a prime example of it.
Corner 3, Ricard way long. Hyman another board. Eyes already up. Behind the back. Throws it up and is short. Lewis the putback. And as you head coach, Felicia Leggett Jack is jumping up and down. She's loving it.
How about that? Dariauna Lewis flying out of nowhere. That's where she talks about that Dennis Rodman style of play.
7 points, 3 rebounds for Dariauna Lewis. A foul on Asia Strong. As Coach Leggett Jack talks it over with McEvans and Strong. The trailer, Dariauna Lewis says, hey, if you're going to miss it, I'll put it right back.
Yeah, Hyman had the ball on a string. When she went up, it was a little off balance, but Lewis just rises up and gets that rebound, as she's done so many times already tonight.
To think that Dariauna Lewis, Asia Strong checks out of the game, Kyra Wood, another Buffalo transfer, into the ball game. Lewis started playing in high school. For someone that's so dominant at the collegiate level in her 5th year, to think she started playing at high school, not middle school or earlier. Hyman, there's the steal. Crossover, the floater, no, Lewis again! Can anyone box her out? Dariauna Lewis up to 9 points and 4 rebounds that feel like 10. A timeout with 1:39 to play in this first quarter, and it's all Cuse.
Well, Lewis, she's second in the ACC in rebounds per game. She's up there with the top of the country, and this is why she is the first one to it. She finds the ball so well every time somebody shoots it, and she's just as aggressive as anybody. You know, we talked to Coach Coburn as well earlier this week, to ask him about, are you worried about the aggressiveness and the aggressive nature of this team down by the rim? And he said, yes, a little bit, but not as much. He has confidence in his team. But early on, Dariauna Lewis is showing him exactly why he should be worried about the rebounding aspect of this game.
Lewis, 9 points, a majority of those coming on second chance opportunities with her teammates missing. Hayward, off the glass, grabs her own board, but right into the hands of Hyman. Teisha. A pass bit too long to Wood. That can be an integral role of Teisha Hyman's game. Last year, 34 minutes a game. She shot 42% from the field, but what made her so good was she started to facilitate. As a starter on last year's team and one of the lone returners from her sophomore to her junior year, fresh off that ACL tear, and she had to be a leader. She's transitioned that into a role for this team. Wabudu up to 10 points, and that snaps a 9-0 SU run.
It seems to be her sweet spot down there in the short corner, whether it's the jump shot or the little floater, they go for her.
That's Wood's bread and butter. That's pretty much any of Syracuse's 6-footers and their bread and butter down low. You get position on the low block. And Wood cashes in on her first 2 of the day.
Well, it's not that they just have height. They also have the size difference. When you can back somebody down in the paint and create your own space like that, it's easy.
And Pondo traveled before she lifted the shot up. Earlier in the week, Wagner coach Terrell Coburn said, we get it, we're small. Not just compared to Syracuse, but in general, their tallest starter is only 5'11" to compared to Syracuse's 6'3", 6'2", and 6'1". But he said, we have a lot of athleticism. That's going to take us far. Right now, it's taken Teisha Hyman and this SU team far, and Wagner takes it away. Shot clock turned off. Wagner trailing by 15. Cross court to Thibault. Thibault throws it off the foot of Hyman. Saniaa Thibault, number 2 in green, all-conference third-teamer last year, led the league with 5 assists per game. First Wagner player to lead the league in assists since back in 08-09, Andrea Reed. Pull-up J from the elbow, bit too strong. Rebound, guess who? Lewis. And the time expires in the first quarter. SU up 15, big reason why. Points in the paint, 18 of their 27.
And Dariauna Lewis and Asia Strong just so big down there, getting those rebounds, and that's part of the reason why Syracuse is up at the end of 1.
Well, Dyaisha.
Well, they're face guarding her almost from half court. As you see Thibault right here, she's sticking with her like white on rice, and they're getting her to an uncomfortable position. They're making her uncomfortable and taking off-balance shots. That's been the key for Wagner in this one.
Dyaisha Fair averages 19 points per game as Woolley misses the 3, and Thibault, the floater, a bit too short. Syracuse saves it, and it's in the hands of Dyaisha Fair. A multi-coveted All-American, 3 years at Buffalo. He's never averaged under 23 points per game in a single season. Now Nia Wilson in the ballgame for the Cuse. The average is about 10 minutes per game. Woolley, well, she bought a plane ticket back to Brisbane, Australia, instead of throwing it up toward the rim. Couple too many steps, and Syracuse the turnover. Georgia Woolley, she'll be an integral part of SU as ACC play starts next week against Wake Forest. 24 starts during her freshman year at Buffalo and was the freshman of the year. Second on the team in three-pointers, over 50 for the Bulls. The Buffalo contingency of Cheyenne McEvans, Dyaisha Fair, Georgia Woolley, Kyra Wood, as Lo Sinise fires a 3 and misses, and of course, head coach Felicia Legette-Jack. Fair up ahead. Wilson throws it inside. It's tiptoed off the hands of Wood. Cowan the other way. Into space and misses a bit long, but a foul is called.
Well, she's as aggressive as anybody on the floor. Good outlet pass from the backcourt, and then just kind of getting to her right side. That's her comfortable side. Gets a bump. Almost got it to go, but Alex Cowan, who's leading the team in scoring, well, I mean, she's about as basketball bred and born as anybody on this team.
Her brother Anthony played at Maryland. Cowan, a 90% free throw shooter. So no broadcaster jinx there, but everyone knows broadcasters love to throw out storylines, and Cowan with a connection to Syracuse through as many grapevines as you can get. So her brother Anthony played at Maryland, undrafted in the NBA, so went to Greece. Was that club's top scorer, and two of Jeremy Grant's brothers play on that Greek team. And Jeremy Grant, of course, played his college ball from 2012 to 2014 at Syracuse. Fair inside. Woolley. Cross court to Wilson, who drives baseline. Woolley on the block. 5 seconds to shoot. Turns around off the glass. No. Lewis again. Double figures for Dariauna Lewis. Give her 11 points.
That's what she averages this year. I mean, she's about as energetic as anybody on the floor. You see her and Coach Jack talking to each other as she's running down the floor. Coach Jack loves the energy from Dariauna Lewis, and she's a spark plug for this team.
That ball bounces right in front of our faces. At this point, I just think the basketball wants to come to us and wants us to try to take a shot.
I'll lace it back up again if you want to.
Hey, I'm ready for it, especially one-on-one with Dyaisha Fair, even though I knew I'd get cooked.
Oh. Put on the ankle braces before that one.
Wagner's holding Fair par right now. But Syracuse still up by 15. Woolley, elbow jumper. And rebound to Cowan. Turns away from trouble, now in transition. Thibault, no. 2.5 into the second quarter. Each team only with 2 points in the second frame. Wow, what a move. Dishes it out, Wilson. Nope, but Lewis, you guessed it. Dariauna Lewis, another rebound, another score. She's up to 13 points. Give her 8 rebounds. We're only in the second quarter.
I'm not sure if Wagner is losing track of her or if she is just that slippery down low to get and free herself up and get into space to get those rebounds.
Wagner 6 points in the paint, Syracuse 22. Wabudu with 10 points to lead this Wagner team. Every other player with a combined 4. Losanise, southpaw 3, she got it. With 3 on the shot clock. Losanise is on the board for the first time today. That's a good sign for Wagner. They rely heavily on her shooting and on Cowan playing that role, but then she throws it away.
Back and forth, they're going to trade turnovers all game.
Fair floater, and Dyaisha Fair, first points, and finally got the monkey off her back. Syracuse up 16. They'll continue to apply that press. Losanise, and a pack of 4 gets it to Mapandu. Malia Mapandu, the 6'2" freshman. If anyone can stop Dariauna Lewis, it has to be her at her height. Fair, Jay, no. Lewis tries for the rebound, and she's upset. Georgia Woolley might have gotten in her way. You don't want to steal a rebound away from Dariauna Lewis. That's like trying to go up to Dennis Rodman and tell him, oh, your hair color's kind of weird.
And now she and Coach are laughing right now, giggling about something, because I think that Coach knows how bad she wants the rebounds. It's not really about padding your stats at this point. We're only in the second quarter, but it's just about having the impact in the game that Dariauna Lewis does have. She wants to be involved in just about everything, which is why she plays with so much passion and so much pride. We talk about the 3 Ps that Coach Jack talked about: pride, passion. You have the third one for me?
I'll have to think about that one as Dyaisha Fair gets into the offensive end. Hyman. The jumper misses. And Wagner the other way. Losanise, who just missed a 3. Cowan. Another travel. 4th on the day for Wagner. And this is where Wagner has to take advantage. Dariauna Lewis out of the ball game. Tallest player is Saniaa Wilson, who's another Buffalo transfer. Saniaa Wilson at 6 foot tall. From Rochester, about an hour and 20 minutes away. With a three-time sectional champion in the state. Fair, eyes up, no-look pass. A heater that Rice corrals. McEvans, she's fouled before the pass down low to Wilson. Syracuse 33, Wagner 19. SU shooting 46% on the offense, rolling in the dome.
9 lives, and you didn't value any of them.
Bounty hunters. All right, let's get it over with. Kitty, I need your help.
What happened to your other 8 lives?
Watch! I am not really a math guy. The wishing star who get me my lives back. Pray for mercy from Puss in Boots. Espresso.
Puss in Boots, only in theaters. Rated PG.
Us kings skip lunch, been hungry for hours. Whopper, Royal, Crispy, you know we got ours. $5.99 each, 2 meals to devour.
Next one's on me.
At BK, have it your way.
He passes to Luka, who passes the rock right back. He steps back, releases the 3. Martinez does it again.
I might just have to go stupid.
PlayStation.
Say ah, hey, you got to. Say ah, hey. Be it, express it. Be it, express it. Say ah, hey, you got to.
The Getaway Sales Event is going on now at the all-new South Charlotte Hyundai. When the weather gets colder, the deals get hotter. With leases on Hyundai starting as low as $219 a month, you're not going to want to miss out. We have over 200 new Hyundais available right now, ready for you to drive home today. Each new vehicle comes with America's best warranty, plus 3 years of complimentary Hyundai maintenance with Hyundai Assurance. A grand opening, a grand sales event, and a grand selection of vehicles. All of this going on now at the all-new South Charlotte Hyundai.
It's been a battle of bigs in this one so far. Lewis and Wabadoo going at it in the paint, but Syracuse, they have the edge on the scoreboard.
It's been the Dariauna Lewis show, like you said, and Syracuse defensively has done a fantastic job on a really good start, Nick, on their way to hopefully picking up their 3rd win for the Orange.
Orange with a big victory right now in the second quarter. We'll be back here on ACC Network Extra at the half, but enjoy the rest of the second quarter. Cam and Michael, back to you guys in the Dome.
Nick, Zach, thanks so much. You're right, Dariauna Lewis, she's been a mainstay. How about leading this team in points with 13, also 8 rebounds to her name. 5 of 5 shooting because she's getting it done at the block. And a player that's inserted herself as one of the staples come ACC play for SU down low. Back in the Dome, under 5 minutes to play second quarter. SU up 33-19. Wilson turns, good pivot step. Every Syracuse player down low looks like they could evolve to the WNBA right now. And hey, Felicia Leggett-Jack's doing something right.
It's about fundamentals with Coach Jack. She worries about, the drop steps down low, the pivot foots, making sure that everything is, as simple as it gets, because, getting fancy doesn't always win ball games, but being simple, that kind of does.
That's why Coach Leggett-Jack had so much success at Buffalo. For a team last year that led their conference in scoring 75 points per game, 2nd in opponent field goal percentage, 1st in team rebounds. She brought over a player like Dyaisha Fair as well as Saniaa Wilson, and has enhanced a Syracuse team that's lost so many faces over the last couple of years.
And not only does she bring over the players, but she brings over the culture that she had with them, right? We talk about the lunchbox from Buffalo and the hard hat here with the bling in Syracuse. not only does she want her team to work hard and stay focused, but she likes to have fun too, and that's a good example of that.
And she wants each one of her players to do their job. The hard hat isn't rewarded to the player that scores the most points or has the standout game. It's the player that she believes is playing their hardest at all times and bringing something to the team that maybe the score sheet doesn't show. For example, I talked to Dyaisha Fair after her 27-point game on Thursday, and that went over Coppin State. And I was like, you want the hard hat? She's like, of course, but it didn't go to her. She launches a three and misses short. Wilson on the board. Wagner still trying for a rebound. Wilson again. SU 2 chances. Can't get either to go. And a foul on Cheyenne McEvans.
Yeah, how about this? Right, McEvans goes up to try and get it, comes back down, and whoa, a little bit of a cartwheel there.
A gymnastics star, maybe?
I heard you were a gymnastics star back in your day.
Really? I would need a hard hat from Felicia Leggett-Jack to do any gymnast moves. Big shot is good. Alex Cowan. Now Fair the other way. Guard misses to the left and Wilson the board. And this team is dominating on the rebounds. 22-9 in the rebounding department in favor of Syracuse.
It was also a product of a really good outlet pass to break the press. It's something that Syracuse has done very easily against Wagner early on.
Long three. Wilson and McEvans fighting for the board. Coach Jack likes the effort. Those are 2 Buffalo transfers. They're looking at each other saying, no one else was in the area.
Sometimes it's as easy as miscommunication. Everybody wants that rebound so bad, which is a good thing if you're Coach Jack in the Orange, or really any coach on any team, but you have to be able to communicate with your teammates.
SU is still molding an identity. Cowan stood up by Wilson, but then throws it away. Sanchez Henry to Cowan. Fresh new shot clock for Wagner. An Orange team that brought in 10 new faces, still trying to mold an identity. Before the Coppin State game, Coach Jack said, hey, on offense and defense, we're going to do something differently before ACC play starts. Got to figure out where our identity lies. A foul with Wabudu heading to the rim. It's on Saniaa Wilson. I love diving into my soapbox. Look at those glasses.
You know, I used to wear rec specs back in the day.
Really?
Before I wore contacts, I wore rec specs.
On the court, or you're just saying?
No, on the court. On the court.
Were you a 5 like Saniaa Wilson?
No, I was not.
Wilson runs the floor, and maybe Michael Gross did that back in his heyday. Syracuse back up by 16.
What a talented young big, learning from Coach Jack and learning from some of the veterans, too, on this team.
A lot of transition points for SU. It's up to 8, but it feels like a whole lot more. That's the 6th traveling violation for Wagner. Saniaa Wilson, 6 foot forward, and hey, she might be 6 feet tall, but she can run the floor with whoever.
Yeah, once again, another good outlet pass, and then they just give it to her, a little shift to a jump stop, and once she gets herself set, she goes right back up, and it's an easy finish because she has so much height over everybody on the floor.
Outlet pass ahead, and Cheyenne McEvans throws it out of play. Syracuse team that's won 16 straight over non-conference opponents at home. The last loss was to top-ranked Oregon back in 2019. You want to date that even further. The last loss prior to that, Arizona State in 2015. Los long on the 3. Syracuse. McEvans. Los in the air, and McEvans dives to the cup. Cheyenne McEvans, who suffered an MCL tear back in January with Buffalo, missed a portion to start this year, but Coach Jack said it's so nice to have her back. She spaces the floor so well.
She's crafty as well. You saw the little head fake and then darting straight to the rim, getting downhill quickly.
9 to shoot. Wabudu already on 10 points, misses to the right. And a foul on Wagner. It's Andrea Hayward. That's her 3rd. only in the first half of play. Drea Hayward, who plays about 23 minutes per game, she's not a starter that'll play over 30, but still, not having a hard-nosed defender on the floor is not good news for Wagner.
Just like Dariauna Lewis is the heartbeat in terms of energy for Syracuse, Drea Hayward is that heartbeat for Wagner. She's running up and down the floor. She's the first player to say, I want to play defense more than offense.
Hyman coast to coast misses the lay-in. Well, Boodoo fell to her backside, and it's a foul on Wagner. So staying here, the hold on Saniaa Wilson. Teisha Hyman almost landed on SportsCenter's top 10 plays, and Woobadoo almost landed on SportsCenter's not top 10 plays.
The Euro step, how shifty Teisha Hyman is. She can go laterally just as well as she can go north and south.
For a player that's torn her ACL twice and doesn't even look like it. The progression is so impressive. Fair off the reload, and she got it. Dyaisha Fair up to a measly 4 points for her standards, but she can contribute to this team in any manner. That's good for Syracuse with so many weapons on the floor.
Well, it's that time of year, right? Wintertime, silent night so far for Dyaisha Fair, but plenty of time left in the ball game.
Now I'm just ready for as many Christmas mentions as you can get in the last 53.4 seconds.
Are you a fan of Christmas music?
I love Christmas music. I love Christmas music. I love Christmas movies. Big Elf fan.
Well, I baked elf cookies last night.
Did you?
Little
You didn't invite
cookies.
me?
No, I'm sorry. Well, I think we were both preparing, but you know, I should have invited you, and I apologize.
We could prepare together,
yes,
as we were at Wagner's practice yesterday. Wilson inside. She's fouled. The ball sat up there what felt like an eternity. The star atop the Christmas tree, and it fell off.
There it is. Star atop the Christmas tree. But yeah, I mean, Saniaa Wilson, every time the ball is dumped down into her, she's got great footwork for a sophomore who's come in and didn't really have much time last year. And so she's come in now with the orange, and she's been a lot better down low. She's been more confident in her game. And hitting free throws, a big part of her game. Only 64% so far this year, but the Orange aren't really shooting much better than that at all this year. 67.4% from the stripe.
Wilson banks it in. 11 of 16 now on the season from the stripe. Syracuse 12 free throw attempts. Wagner just 4, and that's gone into the demise of the Seahawks. Down by now a game high 22 points. Shot clock, game clock, almost equivalent to each other. Micaiah Finley up top to Thibault. 5 to shoot. Thibault, step back J, and it's blocked away. 2 seconds. Up top to Hyman. She launches, and it misses short. Wouldn't have counted anyway. 45-23, Syracuse. A big first half to lead Wagner. Don't go anywhere. ACC Network Extra halftime report coming up in just a little bit. They'll talk Dariauna Lewis and doing so watching their home Syracuse Orange up 45-23. A big reason why. Out rebounding Wagner 28-11. 11 offensive rebounds for Syracuse in the first half, which totals as many offensive rebounds as they had in that win over Coppin State on Thursday. Wagner attacks the hoop right away, and Hayward, who has 3 fouls to her name, misses on the step back. Teisha Hyman, Dyaisha Fair, combined 8 points, and Fair again misses the jumper, but Strong back up with it, and she's fouled. Now we see Asia Strong featured in the lineup to start the second half. Syracuse started Elena Rice in that role in a small ball lineup with 4 guards, but now going back to these 2 bigs down low in Lewis and Strong. It makes sense. Syracuse, 34 of its 45 points are in the paint.
Yeah, it's a really good platoon down there between Strong and Lewis. When the two of them are both firing on all cylinders, it's hard to be able to stop the Orange on the inside. And obviously, as it's shown already, like you said, 34-10 in terms of points for the paint in favor of the Orange. And it's been a rough night so far for Wagner in the second half, but there is still time to turn it around.
Hayward to the elbow, throws it away. 12th turnover for Wagner. Hyman ahead, and it's off the fingertips of Strong. Syracuse fans on their feet. They are every single game waiting for the first bucket of each respective half. It's a cool tradition here in Syracuse, whether it be for a men's or women's game. These fans bring so much culture to programs that are so storied in their own right. Saniaa to Wabudu. Leads this team with 10 points. The drive by Cowan, bit too long. Hyman the board. Fair, only 4 points. Good crossover, Euro step. Woolley, the three. She got it. Cans it, nothing but net for Georgia Woolley, and that's Syracuse's first three of the ball game. If I told you, Michael, Syracuse would be up by 26, and that's their first three, I think you would tell me I was crazy.
I'd say you probably ate a little too many of those elf cookies last night. But we saw that all last year. It's just Fair, kicking to the corner for Georgia Woolley. She can shoot it from anywhere on the floor, especially behind the arc.
Hayward knifes inside. Good move to the rack. 2 seconds on the shot clock, and Hayward gets to the rim. And for Wagner, we're staring a 10-0 run of Syracuse right down the barrel to end that first half. So the Seahawks finally back on the board. Hyman, only 1 of 7 in that first half. Slight push off, and she nails the J. Cowan can't believe it, but Teisha Hyman up to 6.
There's that highlight we talked about for Teisha Hyman. Maybe a little bit of a crossover. Could have been a little push off, but either way, she can the mid-range.
Wabudu to the rim. 12 points. And right now, the 5th year is carrying Wagner. 12 of their 27. Hyman. This is way short on the three. Teisha Hyman from three-point land. It hasn't been pretty, under 40%. Saniaa, the quick J on the other end. That's how Wagner wants to play. They want to move quick. Hyman 1-on-4 through 2 defenders. Thought she held her pivot foot, but didn't, says our head official Felicia Young. The other officials, Corey Chambers and Kelsey Reynolds.
I think that's been part of a fault with Wagner, though. They're trying to get quick shots, maybe even the first shot that they see, instead of moving the ball a lot, which they like to do, setting a couple double screens, and finding the open player in the corner or even down low.
Wabudu, 1-on-1 with Lewis. Thibault cashes in the three. Wagner looking a lot better to start this second half in terms of ball movement. Fair the other way. A jump ball, Thibault forced it. Possession arrow points towards Syracuse. And Dariauna Lewis puts her hands on the shoulders of Fair. Michael, if you're in the head of Dariauna Lewis, what was that all about?
I don't know. I think it's just maybe making sure that your leader on the court is as calm as possibly can be. I know Dariauna Lewis doesn't exactly scream, "Oh, I'm a calm human being," because she's got a lot of energy, but to calm her teammates down, that's important as a leader.
This team's still trying to develop a leader. You have all these transfers and those that play different roles at their respective programs, whether it be a Kyra Wood off the bench from Temple, Alabama A&M's Dariauna Lewis, Asia Strong from 3 different schools, Buffalo transfers galore, and Teisha Hyman, Dyaisha Fair, they have to play that leadership role. Wabudu off the side of the backboard. 3.5 into the third quarter, Syracuse up 21. SU shooting 46% from the field, only 1-3, while Wagner a measly 33%. Teisha Hyman already 2 points in this second half. To Lewis, the cutter strong, and that's pretty. Asia Strong 7 points. Starting this second half after coming off the bench in the first. Saniaa Thibault. Cowan into the lane and a little bit long. Teisha Hyman looks ahead. Football pass to Fair, bit too long out of the outstretched arms. And those two, for how dynamic they've been in the backcourt, A reminder, they've only been playing together for 9 games. And that's a relationship that over time will grow.
Yeah, and for Teisha Hyman, it had to be maybe a little bit frustrating last year when she heard about all these transfers, the new coach. Had to be a little frustrating for her because she was a leader on this team last year. She still is a leader on this team this year, but Syracuse has one really primary ball carrier, and that's Dyaisha Fair. But a lot of times when Hyman gets cooking, she's up there, but she's had to mesh with everybody, and it's not an easy thing to do.
You can mesh with your teammates like Asia Strong, Dariauna Lewis, those passes from Fair to Woolley. I think Teisha Hyman will take the winning over try to establish herself as a leader, as Cowan, who hit a 3 on that previous possession, misses short on that curl. Teisha Hyman shakes her head. Asia Strong trying to post up down low on Losinese. Hyman into the lane, misses long. Skies for her own board. Now a double into Strong. They're offhand and it's blocked away. Asia Strong steps out of bounds. 55-33, the Syracuse lead. And they're carrying a dominant first half to an even better second half. First 3 of the day, and that is pure.
Nine lives, and you didn't value any of them. Bounty hunters. All right, let's get it over with. Kitty, I need your help.
What happened to your other 8 lives?
Watch! I am not really a math guy. The wishing star could get me my lives back. Pray for mercy from Puss in Boots. Espresso.
Puss in Boots, only in theaters. Rated PG.
Chicken, 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 Italian spicy bacon chicken. Take one bite and it all starts clicking. Crown up my day at BK. Have it your way.
We love our new home.
There's so much space.
But we have ants.
Expired. Expired. Expired.
It's a lot of house. I hope you can keep it clean.
At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
It's V-Week on ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
Today's game is one of many on our ESPN family of networks during the always inspiring V-Week, celebrating the life and legacy of Jim Valvano by supporting the V Foundation for Cancer Research. This year alone, roughly 1.9 million people will be diagnosed with cancer in the United States, and for that reason and so many more, Valvano's message of never giving up is felt so deeply this week. And Michael, I know you have a personal connection to this.
Yeah, my mother Jackie some years ago was diagnosed with breast cancer, but now we're coming up on the impressive 6-year mark cancer-free. She's the most important person in our family, the most important person in my life, and I look up to her and I'm so proud of her and how strong that she is and how strong we've all been for her.
Jackie, I don't know you personally, but I feel like I do now through your son Michael, and I'm so glad that you're doing so much better. It's V-Week at ESPN when we partner with the V Foundation to highlight the urgent need for cancer research. This is game-changing research that helps save lives. You can join the fight against cancer by visiting v.org/donate. 100% of your donation goes directly to cancer research. Syracuse the big lead over Wagner. As Dariauna Lewis misses on the jumper. 22-point advantage. Dariauna Lewis up to a double-double. Low Saniaa to Wabudu. The J is pure. Kem Wabudu up to 14 points. She's been Wagner's entire offensive scheme.
I think about 8 or 10 of those points have been from that short corner.
Dyaisha Fair only has a couple points to her name, but she'll tack it up to 7. Her first 3, and maybe that gets the senior going.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, one bucket, one basket can improve the confidence so much, especially coming out of a half. I know we're latter stages of the third quarter, but to really kind of get in your groove, one bucket is all the difference.
The Bozy double, almost threw it away. Cowan, who was the star coming into this one, only 7 points. 5 to shoot, make it 4. Thibault in the lane, the floater long, strong the board. Syracuse 40 of its 58 points in the paint. Strong, she can shoot the 3, elects to go to the rim. Left a lot to be desired on that floater. It's tussled up, and the possession arrow is going Wagner's way as a few substitutions are made.
Good tenacity there from Thibault to get in there and fight with Strong. Strong's got about a 6-7 inch difference on Thibault, and so going in there, it's not easy. Up against a really aggressive big like Asia Strong.
Fair challenges Ricard at the midline. Wagner trailing by 23. Bozy the 3, and she misses short. Lewis her 11th board. Almost fumbles it, but Hyman corrals. Elena Rice just checked into this ball game. Down the left alley, and that's a charge. Well, Wabudu, if she doesn't do it offensively, else she can do it defensively too.
Kem Wabudu just stepping in there, not afraid of anything. Sees Elena Rice barreling down toward her. Rice can't believe it, but that's the right call. Kem Wabudu brings a lot of energy on this team. In practice yesterday, when we were there, she was kind of, keeping everything light, staying focused, but joking around with her teammates, and she brings that energy on that defensive end too.
For Bozy, the putback. That's her first 2 points. Fair, another 3. Yes, sir! Well, if you thought Dyaisha Fair wouldn't ignite in the second half, then you haven't watched Syracuse women's basketball. Fair up to now 10 points.
She plays with such confidence every time she gets the ball. She sets her feet. She's always looking to shoot.
High post to the wing. Sanchez Henry. And it's a dud on the right side of the rim. Fair in transition. Already with 2 threes in the second half. Does her little dance. Offhand floater. And Wagner grabs the board. Wabudu again is there inside the restricted area. Open 3, Ricard. And that's short. This game moving at 100 miles per hour. Hyman is 2 on 4 and she continues to push. What does that say about an upperclassman? That's something with Teisha Hyman that you have to love. You tear your ACL twice in the matter of 3 years. And once you're healthy, my guess is you just want to run because you knew for those years' time during your recovery you couldn't.
Right. I think that comes down to the word grit.
Right.
Coach Jack talked about that's the 4-letter word that they're trying to build. She says she loves that word. And I think that she was talking about how they were waiting for a team to, as she says, punch them in the face to try and get a wake-up call. And you have to end up being gritty. You have to be gritty and always keep fighting so you can figure out who your team is. And that's what I think Teisha Hyman embodies, is grit.
Syracuse fights for the board. Fair. She's crafty. At the charity stripe. Over to Wood, the Temple transfer took too many steps. And that comes with culture for Coach Jack. At Buffalo, coached such a successful team, got her team back to the NCAA tournament for what felt like forever, first time since the 90s for Buffalo. Then you come over to Syracuse and you bring that tenacity. Cowan, she's not giving up. Double figures for Alex Cowan, who we highlighted at the top of the broadcast, leads this team with 13 points per game. Hyman and Fair combined for only 8 points in those first 2 quarters. Now they're up to a combined 16. Fair draws the foul and then just proves why she's one of the best players in the country. That's not easy. Behind the back, you're fumbling almost down to the ground. And Coach Jack told us earlier in the week, asking about Fair, when she does her little dancey, she's hoping that the rest of her players are spacing the floor and moving around and working with Fair, who throws it inside to Strong, losing it out of play.
It also comes with a confidence in yourself and the swagger that you put out onto the floor. You know, she walks around sometimes in a good way, like she owns the place. She kind of does, right? 27 points last week, has really heated up here in the second half. And when you walk around like that with that type of swagger, well, you have the ability and the confidence to do just about anything you want to.
Michael, 10 points for Dyaisha Fair as Cowan launched the deep 3, 5 seconds on the clock. Rebound Fair up to Hyman. She has to heave. She does! And misses just long. Teisha Hyman wants that one back. Dyaisha Fair, what a third quarter. 10 games in orange, all 10 in double figures.
Yeah, Dyaisha Fair is hitting it from everywhere on the floor, so confident, and taking her team to the fourth quarter with a lead.
Soccer that'll take place on Monday, and you can head into the Dome opening at 5:30 Eastern, and the soccer match will be shown on the Dome video boards, specially priced tickets at $10 for certain sections for best viewing purposes. And how about that? SU vying for championship #1 against an Indiana team that's vying for its 9th title.
Well, we've seen a Syracuse and Indiana championship game before, although it didn't go the way of the Orange.
Right
back in 1985.
And now Syracuse, the higher seed, #3 in the country. Indiana, 13th in the nation. Syracuse taking down Creighton in the Final Four of the College Cup to get to this point down in Cary, North Carolina. And you can enjoy the game from the Dome. Dyaisha Fair looking for her third 3. She misses. On the reload, Fair. It's clear Dyaisha Fair is the green light, and not just because she's one of the best players on the floor, but her teammates have her back. A physical game in the Dome, and Asia Strong, Cheyenne McEvans, they want that basketball.
And they're up 21 points in the fourth quarter, which says a lot about the heart that this team has, going for every single rebound and every single tie-up opportunity.
Saniaa is from downtown. Wabudu is blocked by Strong. Syracuse also getting help off the bench. 21 bench points for the Cuse. Dyaisha Fair, she's 4 of 13 from the field for 10 points. But her impact has been felt. Short on the pull-up. Cowan, 2 threes in the second half. All the way to the rim. Missed long. Both teams not giving up, and this is the identity of Wagner and Syracuse. Wide open, Kyra Wood. She won't get a bucket easier than that. The Temple transfer on the board. Syracuse up 23.
It looked like an outlet play during practice where Wood's just standing there under the basket practicing the ball movement.
Now, Michael, if you're Wagner, down by 23 this game, pretty much over, what do you do to make sure that these final 8 minutes are beneficial?
Well, you do have to take early shots in the shot clock. We said before they should take more time. Now you don't have as much time to work with, but it needs to be the high percentage shots. Nothing contested. Try your best to get the ball down low to Wabudu and maybe out to Saniaa to get her going.
And if you're Syracuse, most likely improved to 8-2 on the season heading into ACC play. Did you learn anything new about Syracuse in this game?
Yeah, plenty of new things. We learned that Dariauna Lewis, as much as we knew that she was a leader before, not just by her play, but she's always talking. Every time she's up and down the floor, you can see it, you can hear it, no matter where you are in the building. And we know that Dyaisha Fair is a leader. We know that Teisha Hyman's a leader. Kyra Wood is a leader, the 3 of them as captains. But it's been Dariauna Lewis who's really driven the ship, and Asia Strong right there with her.
You know who Dariauna Lewis reminds me of? Well, she's actually on the sideline for Syracuse. Felicia Leggett-Jack.
Yes.
Bounce pass of a Pundu. Rolls in. Because when Felicia Leggett-Jack played back from 1984 to 1989, she garnered so many accolades and took Syracuse to its first ever Big East championship. Something about her energy was so palpable, and that's the same with Lewis.
That's the reason people want to be around her and play for her that much, because Coach Jack is a fun person to be around, fun coach to play for, provided you work hard.
It's taken away in transition by Lexi McNabb, who just checked into the game. Rice down the left alley. Wood tried for the rebound. Wagner the other way. Cowan one-on-one, reverts to a one-on-4 after losing the handle. Losanice, the southpaw. She's been quiet today. The top shooters from three-point land on this team is 1 for 6 from distance. A lot of things you can point at to why Wagner's down by 21, but shooting 4 of 17 from downtown, that won't cut it. It's McEvans, McNabb, Wood, Wilson, and another Wilson. A lot of same names on this orange team right now on the floor. Saniaa, it's taken away from her. Cowan, 2-on-1, takes it herself into the body of Nia Wilson and heads to the stripe.
That's the kind of energy we want to see from Alex Cowan as a player. Gets the outlet pass, not afraid to put her body into a defender in transition. We know they play transition basketball, and Alex Cowan, a big reason for that. She starts breakouts a lot by finding the outlet pass and getting up the floor very quickly, but she gets to the rim. She's not afraid to get hit, and that's where that hard work and determination comes in.
Leads the team with 20 offensive boards. Now, Wagner could have used a lot of those today, but really good getting to the rack. Defensive-minded, but also 20 points per game over her last 3. The two-sided player on both ends of the floor. And for a Wagner team that is trying to replicate what happened last season, 17 wins for the first time in over 20 years, as she's one of the mainstays in the staple that will allow them to continue this hot stretch in Northeast Conference play. Wilson turns around and gets hacked. A clear foul, you could hear it from here. Wagner was picked to finish atop the NEC. Their last title was in 1989. So the committee that decides that, many could say, okay, ambitious, because Mount St. Mary's has won it over the past couple of years. But Wagner, they've added a lot of new faces, a few transfers, and having Terrell Coburn at the helm helped them last season. For a Wagner team that was dead in the depths between the years of 2011 and 2018, had no 10-win seasons. So as much as you stare at the scoreboard and say, okay, it's a 19-point lead for Syracuse, and it could be 20 with the Saniaa Wilson free throw, Wagner's turned its program around. And not to mention the last 2 times that these teams played, the margin of victory for Syracuse, 38. Both times.
Both times.
It's a 20-point game, and of course, that is a comparison that Wagner will not want to hang its head on. But at the same time, hang its hat on. But this is a team that can look at this result and say, okay, these are the things we did well, and this is what we can correct. Fabosi off the glass for 2. Julia Fabosi, the 6'1 junior guard. 28 games for Providence in 2 seasons before transferring back to her hometown. It's taken away. Sanchez Henry on the break. And Wagner cuts the deficit to 16.
It's not over yet, Cam. With the speed and energy from Marissa Sanchez Henry off the bench, and Fabosi knocking down a couple shots. Maybe there's some light in the end of this tunnel.
McNabb. Could say the 3rd team on for Syracuse, and it doesn't matter. Nia Wilson all the way to the cup. Wagner has to move quick, still down by 18. Cowan to Wabudu, who's been the star today. Only player in double figures, her and Cowan. But she was the one that emerged in the first half. Kennedy Perkins, the freshman, pulls up. rolls out. Rebound McEvans. Back up with it. And Syracuse back up 20.
McEvans only 5'9". She had a nice little drop step right there. Gets the ball, puts it at her waist, brings it up over her head, and steps through the two defenders to get to the rim. The most efficient way is through sometimes, and when you can do it with ease, well, Cheyenne McEvans got her bucket.
Well, that's a junior in McEvans. Syracuse full steam ahead. The true freshman Kennedy Parkins. Hasn't played in a little bit. She'll cherish this time. Inserted into Saniaa Wilson, knocked away by Fabosi. Syracuse keeping Wagner at an arm's distance length and maybe a little longer, 68-48. All SU looking to stay perfect in the dome.
Us kings skip lunch, been hungry for hours. Whopper, Royal, Crispy, you know we got ours. $5.99 each, 2 meals to devour.
Next one's on me.
At BK, have it your way.
Outside, inside, we don't stop. Go worldwide, we don't stop. From the bottom to the top, we don't stop. From the burbs to the block, we don't stop.
PlayStation.
I'm on my last life.
What happened to the other 8 lives?
Hola, señorita. Do you like gazpacho? The wishing star could get me my lives back.
Is the great Puss in Boots asking for help? You okay?
See, I am good. The dark forest. We step through as one. 1, 2, after you.
Wait, what?
Dog? Still alive?
Puss in Boots, only in theaters. Rated PG.
Where can you holiday shop for less and experience a whole lot more? Lowe's, actually. Get our best deals of the holidays backed by the Lowe's Price Promise.
We empower those who act. Those who see the correlation between upswings and downswings. Those who manage risk by meeting each obstacle with a perfectly executed strategy. A measured approach, the right tools, driving accuracy. CME Group, where risk meets opportunity.
Syracuse in the dome. Felicia Leggett Jacker, number 33, forever enshrined in the rafters. And she said when she came to Syracuse as a head coach that her first big-time recruit was her best friend of 38 years, Sue Ludwig, who coached at West Hill, which is just down the road, and accumulated over 500 wins, a New York State title in 1996. But these two, they played together from freshman year to finish up till senior year, and those two have a lot of history, and that's a huge addition to this coaching staff. Sue Ludwig, an assistant coach for SU, when Felicia Leggett Jack got the nod as Syracuse's head coach over the summer. And both of them look on, with SU leading by 20. Cool about the two of them, Coach Leggett Jack is often revered for her ability to score, was top 10 in scoring all time for Syracuse. Don't forget Sue Ludwig, over 1,200 points in her career. That's 17th in program history. Those are two premier scorers. And they're teaching the youth like Nia Wilson, hasn't gotten a lot of playing time this season, but was exposed to the Syracuse system last year. Ludwig, one of the many familiar faces to Coach Leggett Jack to join her on the coaching staff. We already talked about Kyrie Carter, whose sister Kiera Carter is on the Wagner sideline as an assistant coach. A lot of familiarity around this team. And maybe moving forward for Syracuse, they can get names like Nia Wilson integrated into this system. Wilson, a sophomore, and was one of the few to actually stay with Syracuse after the coaching change from last season. An Orange team that's dealt with a lot of turmoil, 34 different players over the last 3 years. I was going to say this is another face, Ava Irvin, that was on the team last year.
It hasn't been easy for some of the players who've stayed. It can't be easy for the ones who've transferred in either. And for a program that's completely turned over, new head coach, pretty much a whole new roster. They've done a pretty decent job at the beginning of this season. They're looking to go 8-2, and we'll have to close out the last 3.5 to do so.
7-0 in the Dome, too. Kennedy Perkins fouled down low. This is the experience that's invaluable for young players like this, right? Michael Kennedy Perkins is a true freshman among the trees of the 6-footers that are upperclassmen and some of the best guards in the nation like Teisha Hyman and Dyaisha Fair. What do those presences have on players like Ava Irvin, Kennedy Perkins, Nia Wilson?
Well, I mean, for Kennedy Perkins in specific, she led her high school, which is Bolingbrook High School, in scoring all 4 years that she was there. She was a 3-time All-State first-team guard back in Illinois. And so, to know that you have that kind of talent behind you, if you're Dyaisha Fair, if you're Teisha Hyman, you want to try and teach them as much as you possibly can. And that's not just about things on the floor. It's about how to carry yourself as a leader on and off the floor.
Bobosi misses on the jumper. It'll go Syracuse's way. Now it'll stay with Wagner. Well, at this point, the referees are mixing me up. Syracuse we'll keep it. Monmouth against Syracuse. The men's team right now amidst a 3-game win streak taking on Monmouth at 8 Eastern on ACC Network. That'll come your way tomorrow. So a 2-day break for Syracuse men's basketball. Irvin misses long. And again, like we mentioned, as Nia Wilson proves her strength at the block. Syracuse men's soccer playing in the national championship at 6. You can come to the Dome starting at 5:30 to a little viewing party in the JMA Dome.
Will you be there?
I really want to go. Because I'm still deciding. Saniaa Wilson at this point is there. She can just stand on the block and watch the soccer game, root them on. I want to go. It's a cool event.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when the NBA playoffs are on and they pop into different arenas where, of course, the opposing team is on the road and they show those fans getting loud for big plays. Or even, if we keep it more recent, the FIFA World Cup and popping into watch parties of Argentina after they score, or even England and France in that game too. So now that I said that, and I almost self-advertised, I think I have to go, right?
Yeah, you have to. Well, it's one of those experiences where, you can cheer on your team and cheer on your favorite players with your fans, even though you're not there. I did something like that back in the day.
And we'll talk a little more about that. How about Ava Irvin getting on the board? 13-2 run for the Qs, and they've ran away with it all afternoon long.
Legend tells of a wishing star, a single wish waiting to be granted. I am on my last life.
Oh no!
I need that wish.
Is Puss in Boots asking for help?
Kitty, please.
Okay, I won't make you beg. Whenever I team up with you, things go wrong.
Trust me.
You call that cute?
It's all so cute.
Puss in Boots, only in theaters. Rated PG.
Marinara, mozzarella, look at this royal crispy fella. Sauce and cheese, crispy chicken, Italian royal was what I'm picking. BK, have it your way.
Rated E for everyone.
Give me my space, no, then not to waste, yo. Still better know your place, yo. I ain't slept good in days, yo. On job running up pace, so we too right, you say so. I'm back on my. You ain't seen no one like me since Lauren Hill back in the 90s. Feeling herself, yeah, I might be. But I know so.
one of Nissan's EVs survive the North Pole. And one can go 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. And they're all emission-free. But don't get an EV for the E. Get it because it pins you to your seat. Sparks your imagination and takes your breath away. Nissan EVs aren't just electric. They electrify you.
Up on December 29th at 2 o'clock, Syracuse takes the Bronx in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. It's SU against Minnesota. You can buy your tickets at cuse.com to root on Syracuse, vying for its first bowl victory since 2018, and already has a bowl victory over Minnesota. That was back in 2013 in the Texas Bowl. And if Syracuse wins, why not throw out more tidbits and talk about more sports? Syracuse would be 3-0 all time in the Pinstripe Bowl. Again, buy your tickets at cuse.com. Syracuse buying a lot of points today, and they've come at ease, dive inside, and Ricard gets the and one. Wagner holding tough, but they've stared a deficit right in the eyes a majority of the night. Syracuse still up by 25.
Yeah, but they've been much better in the second half. They've really competed on both ends of the ball with Syracuse. In the first half, they kind of looked like they went behind early in the first quarter. Didn't exactly roll over in the second quarter, but they weren't the same team that we're seeing right now. They have a lot more energy and a lot more tenacity. They take pride in what they do. That, you know, Coach Coburn has talked about that a lot. You have to take pride in what you do, regardless of the outcome.
McNabb to the rim. She'll head to the line to shoot two. Wagner points off turnovers department 17-2 over Syracuse in the second half. So you're right. That tenacity, that grit that Coach Jack was telling about to us earlier in the week. Coach Coburn doing a lot of the same. Lexi McNabb, yes, that last name is not deceiving you. She's made a name for herself in the state of Arizona, but her mother, Raquel, played basketball at Syracuse. And of course, if you're a Syracuse fanatic, you know her dad, Donovan, who played both basketball and more notably football. Lexi McNabb with those free throws makes it every single player on Syracuse's roster with a bucket. And that's why SU's bench was going crazy when Lexi McNabb was heading to the line.
When was the last time that happened?
I know earlier in this year, Ava Irvin, who's in transition, passes it back to McEvans, and there's that unselfish nature. Syracuse up to 80 points. Ava Irvin and Lexi McNabb were two that were left out in that department early on in the season, but they finally upped the ante, and everyone gets on the board. So everyone eats today for Syracuse.
Yeah, Irvin got her first points of the season tonight, too.
Ball lost inside, and Ava Irvin was taking pictures earlier out in the snow. Don't know how she wasn't freezing her butt off, as Syracuse again finds the bottom of the net, and they go up by their largest lead of the game, 30 points.
Listen, you do a lot to try and get the right photo, the perfect photo. And if that means standing out in the snow, well, then so be it. I'm not a fan myself, but if that's your prerogative, go ahead.
And what happened when she took the photo in the snow? She comes in and she scores her first points of the season. So why am I talking? I have no points. Long three, and that might do it. Lexi McNabb holds. Saniaa Wilson also with 9 rebounds. Syracuse takes advantage of dominant paint play. SU 30-point winners, 83-53, and Syracuse heads into ACC play undefeated in the Dome, now 7-0. Syracuse